I arrived at my promotion ceremony with purple bruises hidden beneath my collar, and a micro camera recording everything. My parents wanted to teach me respect. Before I took my oath, they had no idea I'd prepared an entire counteroffensive. I let them step onto that stage with me, only to watch them choose kneel and apologize before my entire unit or be handcuffed on the spot. They once called me ungrateful. Today, the whole garrison would learn who the real parasites were: violent, thieving liars who mistook blood for ownership. My name is Elena Brooks, and at 0600 hours this morning, my mother's palm connected with my face in a church parking lot while my father held my wrists behind my back. The smell of starch hit me first when I'd stepped out of my Corolla, that aggressive, chemical sharpness from my dress blues, pressed so hard the creases could cut paper. Fort Ashton's morning fog clung to everything, turning the parking lot lights into amber halos. My parents' Buick sat 3 spaces over, engine ticking as it cooled. "There's our little soldier," Mom had called out, her voice carrying that syrup-sweet tone she reserved for public performances. Marla Brooks, pillar of Maple Ridge Baptist Church, head of the Women's Auxiliary, professional martyr. She wore her navy dress with the pearl buttons, the one she saved for occasions where photographs might end up in the local paper. Dad emerged from the driver's side, adjusting his American flag tie clip. Greg Brooks, insurance adjuster, Rotary Club treasurer, the kind of man who practiced his handshake in the mirror. "Ready for your big day, Captain." "Still lieutenant for another 2 hours, I corrected, checking my watch. The promotion ceremony started at 0900. 3 hours to survive. "We need to discuss your speech." Mom's heels clicked across asphalt. "I've made some adjustments." She pulled out folded papers from her purse, 3 pages of single-spaced text. I recognized her handwriting, immediately perfect Palmer script, the kind they don't teach anymore. I scanned the first paragraph. I owe everything to my loving parents who sacrificed so much. "I've already submitted my remarks to the PAO, I said, handing the papers back. "They're approved and printed in the program." Dad's jaw tightened, that little muscle below his ear that jumped when quarterly reports came in low. "You'll read what your mother wrote?" "No." The word hung between us like a pulled pin. Mom's face shifted micro-expressions I'd cataloged since childhood. The narrowed eyes meant calculating. The slight nostril flare meant she'd already decided on violence but was determining the appropriate level. The way her fingers found her purse strap meant she needed her hands free. "After everything we've done for you." Her voice dropped an octave. "Tull, the loans we co-signed, the ROTC program we made you join. Made me join so you could access my scholarship stipends," I said quietly. $23,000 over 4 years. I have the bank records. Dad moved first. Former high school wrestler, still remembered the moves. His hands clamped around my wrists, yanking them back before I could react. Mom's hand came up fast, not a slap, but a proper strike. Heel of her palm to my jaw. My head snapped right. The second hit caught my throat. I gasped, tasting copper. "You ungrateful little bitch," Mom hissed, her church face completely gone. "We own you. Every stripe on your shoulder, every medal on your chest that's ours. You think that uniform makes you special? You're nothing without us." Dad's grip tightened. "Read the speech at the ceremony, or we'll make sure everyone in that auditorium knows what kind of daughter abandons her family. We've got Pastor Morrison on speed dial. The Tribune editor owes me a favor. Your commanding officer's wife is in your mother's book club." They released me simultaneously. A practiced move. I stumbled, caught myself against my car. Mom smoothed her dress, checking her reflection in the window. Dad straightened his tie. "Fix your cover," Mom said, noting how my service cap had shifted. "You look unprofessional." They walked back to their Buick without looking back. Dad called out, "See you at 0830. Captain, don't be late." I waited until their taillights disappeared before checking my collar in the side mirror. The bruises were already forming purple-blue fingerprints on my throat, a darker mark along my jaw. My hands shook as I adjusted my uniform, pulled my collar higher. The micro camera clipped inside my lapel had captured everything, every word, every strike, every threat. I sat in my car for 5 more minutes, engine off, listening to my heartbeat slow. Through the windshield, Fort Ashton's headquarters building rose against the gray morning. The promotion board letter in my pocket felt heavy. The Secretary of the Army has reposed special trust and confidence in your patriotism, valor, and abilities. My phone buzzed. Text from First Sergeant Alvarez. Ma'am, we're setting up the auditorium. You good? I typed back. Change of plans for the family tribute segment. We'll brief you and JAG at 0700. Operation Counter Salute was now live. The bruises on my throat weren't the first ones they'd given me, just the first ones I'd recorded. I discovered my mother had been stealing from me when I was 17, senior year of high school, checking my college savings account to see if I had enough for textbooks. The balance showed $200. Should have been $8,000 every summer job, every birthday check from Grandma, every dollar saved from lunch money. Gone. It's family money, Mom had explained when I confronted her, not even looking up from her crossword. Your father needed it for the mortgage. You live here rent-free, don't you? That's when she suggested ROTC. Suggested like I had a choice. Full scholarship, monthly stipends. You'll be serving your country and supporting your family. It's what good daughters do. The recruitment office smelled like burnt coffee and pledge. Dad drove me there himself. Already had the papers ready. Made me sign before reading them. Later, I learned he'd listed himself as an authorized recipient on my cadet account. For 4 years at State University, my ROTC stipends went straight to them. $1,200 monthly during the school year, $500 during summer training. They'd even taken out a Parent Plus loan in my name without telling me. Found out when I tried to rent my first apartment after commissioning my credit was destroyed. $37,000 in debt I never knew existed. Mom had used it to renovate their kitchen, install the granite countertops she'd show off during church socials. We sacrificed to put you through school. She'd tell anyone who'd listen. Took out loans ourselves just to support her dreams. The neighbors ate it up. The Brookses, such devoted parents. Their daughter in the Army, serving at Fort Ashton. They had the perfect story. Behind closed doors. Different story. Every visit home became an interrogation. How much was my housing allowance? When would I get promoted? Could I co-sign for Dad's new truck? Just this once. Elena, family helps family. When I refused to add Mom to my TSP retirement account, she called me at 0200 hours for a week straight. Ungrateful. Selfish. After everything we've done. The voicemails got progressively uglier. I started documenting them after she threatened to call my commander, tell him I was mentally unstable. That's what they did, found your pressure points and squeezed. Mom knew exactly how to weaponize shame. She'd call my high school friends' parents, spin stories about how I'd abandoned them, posted on Facebook about the burden of having a daughter who forgot her roots, tagged me in every post. Dad was subtler. He'd send emails with subject lines like, disappointed, or your grandmother would be ashamed. Attached photos of me as a kid, always with captions about how I used to be such a loving daughter. Before the Army changed me. Before I got too good for them. The physical violence started 2 years ago. Christmas leave. I'd brought paperwork to remove Dad from my accounts. Mom saw the forms on the kitchen table and backhanded me so hard my earring tore through the lobe. Dad just watched, sipping his coffee. You made her do that, he said. I stopped going home after that. Changed my emergency contacts to First Sergeant Alvarez and my JAG officer. Started therapy at the base mental health clinic. The counselor, Major Patricia Kim, helped me recognize the patterns: financial abuse, emotional manipulation, escalating violence. They're testing boundaries, she'd explained. Seeing how much you'll tolerate. It typically escalates during significant life events, like promotions. They'd found out about my captain board results through Mom's book club connection, Colonel Richardson's wife, who'd overseen the official photo at the base exchange. Mom called me immediately, voice dripping with false pride. We'll be at your ceremony. Of course. Front row. We've already told everyone at church. I knew they'd try something. That's why I bought the micro camera. $60 on Amazon, clips inside any fabric, records 8 hours continuously, syncs to cloud storage. I'd been wearing it for 3 months, capturing every interaction. The Thursday before promotion, Mom sent her draft of my speech. 5 pages of fiction about their sacrifices, their support, their love. She'd even included a part where I'd thank them for teaching me strength through their firm guidance, her euphemism for abuse. "You'll read this word for word," her text said, "or everyone will know exactly what kind of daughter you really are." What kind of daughter I really was. The kind who kept receipts, bank statements showing their withdrawals, screenshots of Dad's forged signatures on loan documents, audio recordings of Mom admitting she'd rather see me broken than disobedient, medical records from the base clinic documenting unexplained bruises during home visits, 3 years of evidence, all backed up in triple redundancy, cloud storage, external drive in my safety deposit box, copies with Captain Maya Redding at JAG. They thought the uniform was just costume, thought military bearing meant I'd learned to take orders, to shut up and comply. They never understood what it really taught me: tactical patience, how to document everything, how to build an airtight case, how to wait for the perfect moment to strike back. This morning in that parking lot, they'd given me everything I needed: assault on camera, threats on audio. In front of the church they used as their moral fortress. They'd shown exactly who they really were. Now it was my turn. The JAG office at Fort Ashton opened at 0700 hours, but Captain Maya Redding was already there when I arrived at 6:45. She took one look at my throat and pulled me inside. "Jesus Christ, Elena!" She locked the door behind us. "When did this happen?" 0600, church parking lot on Maple Street. I handed her my phone, already queued to the cloud backup. "Everything's here." Maya's expression darkened as she watched the footage. I could hear my mother's voice from the speaker, tinny but clear. "We own you, every stripe on your shoulder." "This is assault and battery," Maya said, pausing at the moment of impact. "Clear as day, and with your documented history." She pulled up my case file on her computer, 3 years of reports, all properly filed. "We can get an emergency protective order right now." First Sergeant Alvarez knocked on the door at 7 sharp, built like a brick house, 23 years in service, the kind of NCO who could make privates cry just by existing. He took in my bruises and his jaw clenched. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "what do you need?" I laid out the situation: the assault, the financial fraud, the threat to disrupt my promotion ceremony. Alvarez listened without interrupting, his face growing stonier with each detail. "I've already contacted the district attorney's office," Maya said, pulling up emails on her screen. "Assistant DA Jennifer Walsh is standing by. She can have warrants ready within the hour." "I don't want them arrested at the ceremony," I said. "Not initially." "I want to give them a choice." Maya raised an eyebrow. "A choice?" I explained my plan: the evidence compilation, the public accountability, the settlement agreement I'd had drawn up weeks ago, full financial restitution, permanent no-contact order, public admission of fault, all properly notarized and legally binding. If they sign and apologize publicly, the DA will consider reduced charges, I said. If they refuse, MPs arrest them on the spot for assault, battery, and violation of the emergency protection order we're about to file. Alvarez smiled the kind of smile that made second lieutenants nervous. "You want to use the family tribute segment?" "Roger that, First Sergeant." Maya pulled up the emergency protection order template. "I need you to detail every incident, dates, times, witnesses if any." She started typing as I talked. The Christmas assault, the stolen ROTC stipends, the fraudulent loans, each voicemail, each threat, each bruise. "Your parents are listed as attendees for the ceremony," Alvarez noted, checking his tablet. "Front row, seats reserved." "Let them come," I said. "But I need MPs positioned at exits, plainclothes if possible." Maya's phone rang. "Redding here." She listened, Making notes. Understood, ma'am. We'll have everything ready. She hung up. That was Ada Walsh. She's reviewed your evidence file. Says it's one of the strongest cases she's seen. She'll personally attend the ceremony with the warrants. We spent the next 40 minutes coordinating. Alvarez arranged for 2 MPs in dress blues to stand near the stage looking ceremonial but ready. 2 more in civilian clothes by the exits. The base public affairs officer agreed to modify the tribute video for technical reasons. Maya would provide the new content at 0800. The settlement agreement. Maya pulled up the document on her screen. $200,000 in restitution for the stolen funds plus interest. Complete no contact, no calls, texts, emails, social media, third-party contact, 500-yard physical distance. Violation means immediate prosecution for all pending charges. And the public apology, I added. On stage. To be recorded and maintained as part of the legal record. Maya's printer hummed, spitting out copies. This is aggressive. Elena, they could refuse, make a scene. Then they get arrested for assault in front of 200 people, I said. Their choice. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. Wearing my yellow dress. The one from your high school graduation. Full circle. See you soon, Captain. I showed it to Maya and Alvarez. The first sergeant snorted. Full circle. She has no idea. Maya checked her watch. Protection order will be active in 15 minutes. Judge Martinez is electronic signing now. She looked at me. Once this goes through, they can't come within 50 feet of you without violating it. Unless they're specifically invited to approach for the purpose of legal resolution. I finished. I know. That's why they'll be allowed on stage one time only, to face the choice. Another text from Mom. Pastor Morrison is coming. He wants to do a special blessing after your speech. The pastor, Alvarez said. Want me to have a word with him? No, I said. Let him come. Let them all come. Everyone from Maple Ridge who thinks the Brooks are such devoted parents. Let them all watch. Maya stood, gathering the documents. I need to file these with the courthouse and brief Ada Walsh. Elena. She paused. You sure about this? Public confrontations can go sideways fast. I touched my throat, feeling the bruises already darkening. They chose the venue when they threatened to humiliate me at my own promotion. They wanted an audience. They're getting one. Alvarez checked his tablet. Ceremony starts in 90 minutes. The battalion commander's already here, rehearsing his remarks. One more thing, I said, pulling out a USB drive. The tribute video, 2 minutes of evidence, audio overlays from the voicemails, screenshots of the bank fraud, this morning's assault. All faces obscured except my parents. Their voices are clear. Maya took the drive. I'll get this to PAO. What about your actual promotion speech? I pulled out my index cards, the real ones, not Mom's fiction. 73 seconds on servant leadership and duty. Nothing about family. Nothing about them. Good, Alvarez said. Now let's get you to medical. Document those bruises officially. Then you need to change into a fresh uniform. Can't have our new captain looking anything less than perfect. As we left the JAG office, I caught my reflection in the window. The bruises were turning purple-black now, darker against my skin. In 2 hours, my parents would sit in their reserved seats, expecting to watch their daughter submit to their script one last time. They were half right. There would definitely be a script, just not the one they wrote. By 8:15, my parents had launched their full offensive. The first call came while I was in the medical office getting photographs taken of my bruises. Mom's number. I let it go to voicemail. The second came 30 seconds later. Dad. Then Mom again. Then an unknown number, probably their neighbor's phone. Ma'am. Specialist Torres, the medical technician, noted each bruise on the body diagram. You need me to answer that. Negative. I silenced the phone. 23 missed calls by the time he finished documenting everything. The texts started next. Mom first. Where are you? We're at the venue early to get photos. Then Dad. Your mother is concerned. Don't embarrass us. Then the escalation. Pastor Morrison is here with the entire church council. Don't you dare disrespect us. I forwarded everything to Maya and kept moving. Fresh uniform from my office, collar adjusted to hide the worst bruising. The miracle of army dress blues, they could make anyone look composed, even when you were bleeding underneath. At 8:35, First Sergeant Alvarez intercepted me in the hallway. Your parents are working the crowd, ma'am, shaking hands, telling stories. What kind of stories? How they sacrificed everything for your career, how they drove 8 hours just to be here. Your mother's showing people baby pictures on her phone. Classic Marla Brooks, building her audience before the performance. I wondered if she'd brought the photo album, the one she deployed at every social gathering, full of carefully curated images that told her version of our history. My phone rang. Pastor Morrison. Elena, dear. His voice oozed disappointment before I could speak. Your mother tells me you've been distant lately. Cold. Is everything all right? Everything's fine, Pastor. She's quite upset. Says you won't return her calls this morning. On such an important day for the family. For me, I corrected. It's an important day for me. Silence. Then, your parents made you who you are. Young lady. A little gratitude wouldn't hurt. I hung up. The next wave came through Facebook. Mom had posted a photo of the empty stage with the caption, "Waiting for our daughter to arrive at her special day. So proud of everything we've accomplished together as a family. Army strong. Proud parents. Blessed." 73 likes in 10 minutes. Comments flooding in from Maple Ridge. Congratulations to them. Not me. How wonderful they must be as parents. How lucky I was to have them. She tagged me in everything. Each tag a little digital leash, trying to pull me into her narrative. Then came the nuclear option. At 8:42, she posted in the Maple Ridge community group 3,000 members, including my high school teachers, childhood friends, everyone who'd ever known me. Please pray for our family today. Our daughter has been struggling with mental health issues since joining the military. We're trying to support her through this promotion ceremony, but she's been erratic and hostile. We love her so much and just want our little girl back. The comments exploded. Praying for you. Military changes people. PTSD is so hard on families. You're such good parents for standing by her. Alvarez saw it on his phone. Showed me. Ma'am, this is predictable. I finished. She's building her defense. If something goes wrong at the ceremony, I'm the unstable one. Maya appeared. Ada Walsh beside her. Walsh looked like she ate defense attorneys for breakfast sharpsuit. Sharper eyes. Your parents are now attempting witness tampering, she said. They've approached 3 JAG personnel, trying to explain that you've been confused lately. They also tried to corner the battalion commander, Maya added. His aide had to physically intervene. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, but I recognized the area code. Dad's brother in Ohio. Elena. What the hell is wrong with you? Uncle Richard's voice was cold. Your parents are in tears. They're saying you won't even acknowledge them at your own promotion. After everything. I hung up and blocked the number. 8:48. Mom escalated to email, sending a blast to my entire contact list she'd stolen it years ago from my laptop during a visit home. Subject line, concerns about Elena. Please help. Our daughter is having a crisis. If you're at the ceremony today, please help us get through to her. She needs to remember that family comes first. God bless. The responses started immediately. Former classmates asking if I was okay. ROTC buddies offering to talk. My old roommate asking what my parents meant by crisis. They're scorching the earth, Walsh observed, reading over my shoulder. Classic abuse tactic. Isolate the victim, control the narrative, make them look unstable if they resist. How many people have they contacted? I asked. Maya checked her phone. Based on social media alone. Hundreds. The pastor has his entire congregation praying for your parents' strength during this difficult time. 8:52. A new text from Mom. Last chance, Elena Marie. Read the speech we wrote or we'll tell everyone about the time you threatened suicide in high school. I kept the journal entries. Do you want that to be your legacy? The suicide threat, another lie wrapped around a grain of truth? I'd written one dark poem after they'd stolen my college savings. She'd found it, photocopied it, kept it as ammunition for 13 years. I forwarded it to Walsh. She smiled, the kind of smile prosecutors get when defendants hand them evidence. Blackmail, in writing. Your mother just added another charge. 2 minutes until ceremony. Alvarez announced, "Your parents are front row center. They've saved you a seat between them." "I'll stand," I said. Mom's final text arrived at 8:55. "We're willing to forgive everything if you just comply. This is your last chance to be our daughter again." I showed it to Maya. "Save that," she said. "That's the entire case right there. Comply. Not love, not support. Comply." The auditorium doors opened. 200 people waiting inside. My parents in the front row, Mom in her yellow dress, Dad in his best suit, both wearing matching Proud Army Parents pins they'd bought from the base exchange. They'd spent 90 minutes painting me as unstable, ungrateful, mentally ill. They'd contacted everyone I knew, turned my promotion into their sympathy tour. They thought they'd won before the ceremony even started. Walsh checked her watch. "The warrants are ready. MPs in position. Settlement documents printed and notarized. Your move, Captain." I straightened my uniform one last time. Let's go. Time to show everyone what compliance really looked like. The auditorium backstage hummed with controlled chaos at 8:58. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison, the battalion commander, reviewed his notes while the color guard checked their flags. I stood with Maya and Walsh in the wings, watching the crowd through a gap in the curtains. "Operation Counter Salute is now live," I said quietly. Maya pulled out her tablet, showing me the modified program. "Family tribute video is scheduled after your official promotion, before your remarks. 2 minutes exactly." "PAO has the file loaded," Alvarez confirmed, appearing with a headset around his neck. "Tested it 3 times. Audio levels perfect. Every word your parents said this morning will be crystal clear." Walsh opened her briefcase, revealing the settlement documents in a leather folder. 3 copies, one for them, one for the court, one for you. The notary is seated in row 5. She's also a witness for the prosecution if needed. "MPs?" I asked. "Sergeants Rodriguez and Kim by the main exits in civilians." Alvarez pointed them out. "Staff Sergeants Williams and Park in dress blues by the stage. Everyone thinks they're part of the ceremony detail." "My parents. Front row center. Your mother's been taking selfies with everyone who walks by." Alvarez pulled up his phone, showing me her latest Facebook post, a photo with 3 lieutenants. Caption reading, "Supporting our daughter despite her struggles. Please keep praying." The brigade public affairs officer, Major Thompson, approached with a clipboard. "Captain Brooks, slight change to the tribute segment. Instead of you introducing it, I'll handle that. You'll be seated on stage when it plays." "Roger that, sir." He lowered his voice. "I've seen the video. JAG cleared it, but your parents don't know what's coming." "No, sir." "Good." He checked his watch. "Because what they did to you this morning was unconscionable." Through the curtain gap, I watched Mom work the crowd. She'd cornered my company commander's wife, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue while gesturing dramatically. Dad stood with a cluster of senior NCOs, shaking his head sadly as he spoke, building sympathy, creating witnesses to their version of events. "Elena," Walsh said, "once that video plays, things will move fast. Your parents will have approximately 60 seconds to decide. Sign and apologize, or face arrest. Are you prepared for either outcome?" "Yes, ma'am." "If they make a scene?" "They will." I interrupted. "Mom won't go quietly. She'll play victim, probably claim I fabricated everything. Maybe fake a medical emergency." Maya nodded. "We've got base medical on standby. If she pulls that card, they'll evaluate her and find nothing wrong." My phone vibrated. Text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, then saw the preview. "Elena, this is Mrs. Richardson." Colonel Richardson's wife. Mom's book club connection. I opened it fully. Your mother just told me you've been sending threatening messages. I don't believe her. Stand strong, dear. Some of us see through their act. I showed it to Walsh. She smiled. Forward that to me. Another witness for our side. 2 minutes. Alvarez announced. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. The ceremony would proceed normally through the promotion itself, the oath, the pinning, the official photos. Then would come the family tribute, which my parents expected to be a 2-minute video of baby photos and birthday parties. Instead, they'd get 45 seconds of evidence. The parking lot assault from 3 angles my micro camera, church security footage Maya had subpoenaed, and a dash cam from a delivery truck. Audio overlay of Mom's voicemails. You're nothing without us. We own you. I'll destroy you before I let you embarrass this family. Then 15 seconds of financial documents scrolling past the stolen ROTC money, the fraudulent loans, the bank statements. All account numbers redacted, but the amounts clear. 23,000, 37,000, 8,000 from a 17-year-old's savings. The final minute screenshots of their messages, threats, blackmail attempts, ending with this morning's text, "We're willing to forgive everything if you just comply." No commentary, no accusations, just evidence, presented without emotion. After the video, I would take the microphone for my promotion speech. But first, I would announce that my parents had something they'd like to say. Walsh would approach with the settlement documents. The choice would be theirs, public and witnessed. Places, Major Thompson called. The color guard lined up. The official party formed a line battalion commander, command sergeant major, my company leadership. I took my position behind them. Through the curtains, I heard the audience quieting. Mom's voice carried over the murmur. Oh, there she is. There's our baby girl. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer's voice boomed. Please rise for the presentation of colors. The drums started. The curtains parted. 200 people stood as we processed onto the stage. I kept my eyes forward, textbook military bearing, but I could feel my parents' gaze, could practically hear Mom's thoughts. There's our investment, our property, our obedient daughter playing soldier. The color guard posted the flags. The national anthem played. I stood at attention, peripheral vision catching Mom's yellow dress as she placed her hand over her heart, playing the perfect patriotic parent. Please be seated, the announcer said. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison stepped to the podium. Good morning, Fort Ashton. We're here to celebrate the promotion of one of our finest logistics officers. The ceremony had begun. In 12 minutes, the tribute video would play. In 13 minutes, my parents would face their choice. I'd given them dozens of chances over the years, opportunities to apologize, to change, to just be decent parents. They'd chosen violence and greed every time. This wasn't revenge. This was accountability. The MPs stood ready. The prosecutor sat poised. The cameras were recording. All that remained was to wait for the moment when Marla and Greg Brooks would finally learn that compliance was no longer an option. The promotion oath went perfectly. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison read the words. I repeated them, my voice carrying clear across the auditorium. Mom stood in the front row recording with her phone, playing the proud parent for her Facebook audience. Then came the pinning. By tradition, family members attached the new rank. I'd designated First Sergeant Alvarez and Captain Maya Redding instead. Mom's face tightened when they walked past her to the stage. Where are we? She called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. We're her parents, Lieutenant Colonel Harrison smoothly intervened. The service member selects who performs this honor. Please remain seated. Dad grabbed Mom's wrist, pulling her down. I could read his lips, not now. Alvarez and Maya pinned my captain's bars with practiced precision. The photographer captured the moment me between 2 soldiers who'd actually supported me, while my parents stewed in the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Thompson announced, before Captain Brooks delivers her remarks, we have a special tribute video honoring family and the journey here. Mom immediately brightened, squeezing Dad's arm. This was it, their moment of glory. She held her phone higher, ready to record the baby photos and birthday parties she expected. I took my seat on stage as planned, facing the audience. The lights dimmed. The screen behind me illuminated. The first image appeared security footage timestamp from this morning, 0600 hours. The church parking lot. Mom's smile froze. The audio hit first her voice, crystal clear through the auditorium speakers. "You ungrateful little bitch. We own you." The assault played from 3 angles simultaneously. The strike to my jaw, the grip on my wrists, the second hit to my throat. Several audience members gasped. "Turn it off." Mom stood up, but the video continued. Financial documents scrolled past. Bank statements. The fraudulent loans. Her voice overlay. "Your father needed it for the mortgage. You live here rent-free, don't you?" Dad tried to leave, but found Sergeant Rodriguez standing casually at the end of the aisle, not blocking him exactly. Just there. The voicemails played next. "I'll destroy you before I let you embarrass this family. You're nothing without us. Should have aborted you when I had the chance." That last one I'd never told anyone about that message. Left at 2:17 a.m. after I'd refused to co-sign their boat loan. The auditorium went dead silent except for Mom's recorded voice echoing off the walls. The final segment this morning's texts appearing word by word. "Last chance. Elena Marie. Read the speech we wrote or we'll tell everyone about the time you threatened suicide in high school." Then, the culmination, "We're willing to forgive everything if you just comply." The screen went dark. The lights came up. 200 faces turned to my parents. Mom's phone was still recording, capturing her own exposure. Dad had gone pale, sweat beading on his forehead. "Technical difficulties," Mom announced loudly. "That's been edited deep-faked. Our daughter is having a mental health crisis." "Mrs. Brooks." Ada Walsh stood up from row 3, her voice cutting through Mom's performance. "I'm Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Walsh. Everything in that video has been authenticated by forensic analysts. Would you like to discuss this privately?" But it was too late for private. Uncle Richard's brother had driven down from Ohio. He sat frozen in row 6, mouth open. Pastor Morrison was already backing toward the exit. The church council members looked everywhere but at my parents. That's when Uncle Richard made his move. Mom's older brother, the one she'd called as backup. He rushed from his seat toward the stage, reaching for me. "Elena, your mother's right. You need help." His hand grabbed my wrist. The same wrist his sister had helped bruise this morning. Contact with a service member under an active protection order. "MPs!" Alvarez barked. Staff Sergeant Park moved instantly, professionally restraining Richard before he could pull me from my chair. "Sir, you need to come with me." "This is insane!" Mom screamed. "She's destroying our family. Can't you see she's lying?" The live stream she'd started was still running, all her Facebook friends watching in real time as she melted down in full dress uniform surroundings, the comments section exploding with shock, disbelief, and dawning realization. "Ma'am," Walsh approached with the settlement folder, "your daughter is offering you an opportunity to resolve this with dignity. Sign the agreement, apologize, and avoid arrest." Dad found his voice. "We're not signing anything. This is extortion." "No," I said, standing and taking the microphone. My first word since the video ended. "Extortion is stealing $23,000 from your teenage daughter's ROTC stipends. Extortion is threatening to ruin my career if I don't read a script full of lies." I looked directly at them. "You have 45 seconds to decide. Sign and apologize, or Sergeants Rodriguez and Kim will arrest you for assault, battery, financial fraud, and blackmail. The evidence has already been submitted to the court." Mom's mask finally shattered completely. "You fucking bitch. After everything I sacrificed, I should have 30 seconds. Dad grabbed the settlement documents, scanning them frantically. His hands shook as he read the terms. Full restitution, permanent no contact, public apology. "This is admission of guilt," he said. "Yes." Walsh confirmed. It is. 20 seconds. Mom looked around the auditorium at Pastor Morrison's retreating back, at the church council's averted eyes, at Uncle Richard being escorted out in restraints. Her kingdom of sympathy crumbling in real time. 10 seconds. The entire auditorium held its breath. Even the color guard remained frozen at attention, watching the drama unfold. 5 seconds. Mom lunged for the microphone, but Staff Sergeant Williams stepped between us. She screamed something incoherent about ungrateful daughters and stolen sacrifice. Time's up, I said. Walsh nodded to the MPs. And that's when the fire alarm went off. The fire alarm shrieked for 3 seconds before cutting off. Emergency protocol would have demanded evacuation, but Lieutenant Colonel Harrison's voice boomed across the chaos. False alarm! Remain seated. Mom had pulled the alarm. The security camera would show her reaching for it during the chaos, thinking it would let them escape. She didn't know Fort Ashton's system included tamper-proof sensors that identified exactly who triggered each alarm. Pulling a false fire alarm on federal property, Walsh announced calmly, adding to her mental tally. Another charge. The MPs closed in. Mom backed against the stage, Dad beside her, both cornered between uniformed soldiers and 200 witnesses. The live stream on Mom's phone kept running, broadcasting their humiliation to everyone back in Maple Ridge. Sign the papers, Dad said suddenly, his voice hollow. Marla, just sign them. Never, Mom spat. I'm not apologizing to that ungrateful. Sign them or I will. Everyone turned. Dad's shoulders had slumped, the fight draining out of him as he watched Staff Sergeant Williams step closer with handcuffs visible on his belt. You coward, Mom hissed at him. I'm not going to federal prison for you, Dad said. He grabbed the pen from Walsh, signed his name 3 times across the documents. There, I admit it. We stole from her. We assaulted her. We tried to extort her. The auditorium was silent except for the scratch of pen on paper. Now the apology, Walsh said. Public and on record. Dad turned to face me, then the audience. His voice cracked. I apologize to my daughter, Captain Elena Brooks, for stealing her money, for the physical assault this morning, for years of... He stopped, swallowed. For years of abuse. I'm sorry. Every word sounded like glass in his throat, but he said them. The notary stepped forward, stamping the documents, legally binding, witnessed, irreversible. Your turn, Walsh said to Mom. Mom's face cycled through emotions, rage, disbelief, calculation. She looked at the MPs, at the handcuffs, at the camera phones now recording from every angle, her Facebook kingdom watching her choose between humiliation and handcuffs. I need my reading glasses, she said finally. Walsh handed her the documents. Mom read every line, looking for escape clauses that didn't exist. $200,000 in restitution, permanent restraining order, admission of assault, fraud, and extortion. If I sign this, I can't ever contact her again. Correct. Walsh confirmed. 500 yards minimum distance. No calls, texts, emails, social media contact, or third-party communication. Violation means immediate arrest and prosecution for all original charges. Mom's hand hovered over the signature line. I could see her calculating the social cost of signing versus the legal cost of refusing. The notorious Marla Brooks, pillar of Maple Ridge Baptist, exposed as an abuser and thief. 60 seconds to decide, Walsh said. Then the offer expires permanently. Mom looked at me one last time. For a second, I thought I saw something human in her eyes, not love, not remorse, but maybe recognition. Recognition that she'd finally found a boundary she couldn't cross. A victim who wouldn't stay silent. A daughter who'd learned to fight back with better weapons than violence. She signed. The pen moved across the paper like it weighed 1,000 pounds. 3 signatures, 3 sets of initials. Her name on a legal document admitting to years of crimes. The apology. Walsh prompted. Mom faced the audience, her yellow dress wrinkled now, her perfect church lady facade in ruins. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. I apologized to Captain Elena Brooks for the things listed in this document. Be specific, Walsh said. The assault, the theft, the extortion. Mom's jaw clenched. I apologize for assaulting her this morning, for taking money from her accounts, for attempting to... She stopped, forced herself to continue. Attempting to blackmail her. Louder, I said, my first words directly to her since the ceremony began. So everyone can hear. She repeated it louder, each word carved from stone. The notary stamped the final documents. It was done. These are your copies. Walsh handed them each a packet. The restraining order is effective immediately. You have 15 minutes to leave Fort Ashton. If you're found on base after that, or within 500 yards of Captain Brooks anywhere else, you'll be arrested. The MPs stepped back, creating a path to the exit. Mom and Dad stood there, looking smaller somehow, like punctured balloons. The audience watched in silence as they walked toward the door, no longer the devoted parents, just two criminals who'd chosen a settlement over handcuffs. At the door, Mom turned back. You'll regret this. Ma'am, Sergeant Rodriguez said quietly. That sounded like a threat. Would you like to rephrase? She left without another word. The door closed behind them. The auditorium stayed silent for 3 more seconds. Then someone started clapping. Colonel Richardson's wife. Others joined, first scattered, then thunderous. A standing ovation not for the promotion, but for something else. For boundaries held, for truth told. For justice that didn't require a courtroom. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison returned to the podium. Captain Brooks, I believe you have remarks. I stood, adjusted my uniform, and approached the microphone. My parents' empty seats gaped in the front row. Their absence felt like freedom. Thank you, I began, looking at the assembled crowd, my real family, the one I'd chosen, the one that had stood by me. I'd like to speak about servant leadership and the courage to do what's right, especially when it's hard, especially when it costs everything. My voice was steady. The bruises on my throat didn't hurt anymore. I was Captain Elena Brooks. I'd earned these bars myself, and for the first time in my entire life, I was free. My promotion speech lasted 73 seconds. No mention of family. No thanks to parents who sacrificed everything. Just words about duty, honor, and the courage to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Leadership, I concluded, means standing guard against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Sometimes the hardest battles are fought in parking lots at 0600 hours. Sometimes the enemy wears familiar faces. I stepped back from the microphone. Lieutenant Colonel Harrison shook my hand, his grip firm and knowing. Outstanding, Captain Brooks. The ceremony concluded with the Army song, 200 voices singing while I stood at attention, Captain's bars catching the stage lights. My throat still bore bruises beneath the collar, but my spine had never been straighter. As the crowd dispersed, people approached not to ask about my parents, but to offer support. Colonel Richardson's wife hugged me tight. Should have done that years ago, she whispered. First Sergeant Alvarez supervised the cleanup of the empty front row seats. Someone had already removed the reserved for Brooks family signs, like they'd never existed. Ma'am. Specialist Torres from Medical approached with an envelope. This came for you during the ceremony. Inside, a single sheet of paper, a bank confirmation, $200,000 transferred to my account from Greg and Marla Brooks. The restitution, paid in full within 30 minutes of signing. They must have initiated the transfer from their phones while walking to their car. Ada Walsh appeared at my elbow. They paid every penny. Smart. Shows good faith if they ever petition to modify the restraining order. She paused. They won't be able to, of course, not with that video evidence. But they'll probably try in a few years. Let them, I said. The auditorium emptied slowly. I stood on the stage, looking at the spot where my parents had signed their admissions. No dramatic final confrontation, no tearful reconciliation, just paperwork and consequences. Maya joined me, still wearing her JAG insignia. Facebook's interesting right now. Your mom's church friends are having meltdowns. Pastor Morrison posted a statement distancing the congregation from your family. Already. The live stream got over 3,000 views. Someone screen recorded it. It's spreading through Maple Ridge like wildfire. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I almost deleted it, then saw it was my childhood friend, Sarah. Just saw everything. I'm so sorry. Elena. She told everyone you were crazy. We believed her. I'm so sorry. I deleted it. Some bridges weren't worth rebuilding. Captain Brooks. Major Thompson approached with a tablet. The security footage from the fire alarm. Your mother clearly pulled it. We're pressing federal charges for that separately. Is that necessary? They already signed. The settlement covers the assault and theft. The false alarm is a federal offense. Different jurisdiction. He smiled grimly. She'll get community service. Probably. But it'll be on her record. Marla Brooks, convicted of false emergency reporting on federal property. The justice was poetic. Mom, who'd built her reputation on moral superiority, now had a federal conviction. Every background check for the rest of her life would show it. By 1000 hours, the auditorium was empty except for me and Alvarez. He stood at parade rest, watching me process everything. How you feeling, ma'am? Free, I said. For the first time since I was 17. Free. They'll try to come back. They always do. Not with a restraining order and federal conviction. Not with video evidence viewed by thousands. Not with the entire town of Maple Ridge knowing exactly who they are now. He nodded slowly. You did good, Captain. Took courage to plan all that. Execute it publicly. I learned from the best. First Sergeant. We walked toward the exit together. Outside, Fort Ashton continued its daily rhythm, soldiers marching, vehicles moving, the ordinary machinery of military life. Nobody knew or cared that I'd just divorced my biological family in the most public way possible. My phone showed 57 messages, former classmates, ROTC friends, cousins I hadn't heard from in years, all choosing sides, offering support or condemnation. I deleted the entire thread without reading. At exactly 10:30 hours, I performed my first official act as Captain Brooks. I signed the duty roster, my new rank official, and earned. The pen felt light in my hand. No weight of expectation, no burden of false gratitude. The bruises on my throat would fade in 2 weeks. The financial restitution would clear my debts and fund a new beginning. The restraining order would ensure peace for the first time in my adult life. But the moment that would stay with me forever was simpler. Mom and Dad walking out of that auditorium, smaller with each step, their power dissolved by truth and consequences. They'd wanted me to bow in shame. Instead, they'd been the ones to kneel, signing their crimes into permanent record while their carefully constructed reputation collapsed on live stream. I touched my captain's bars one more time. The metal was cool, solid, real. My name is Captain Elena Brooks. I earned these bars myself. I stood against my enemies, foreign and domestic, and I won. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm curious to know where you're tuning in from. Drop a comment and let me know what country or state you're in so we can connect. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts below. Your own experiences and perspectives mean everything to this community.